Hi, welcome back to the shop. Thanks for stopping by. This week's video, I'm going to make a wedding band for my son. He's getting married next month, and he asked me if I would make him a ring with copper center and copper inlays in deer antler. So I've never made a ring before. I thought I'd give it a go. So this is a piece of 3/4 inch L weight copper pipe, which fortunately is the right size. So I don't have to monkey around too much with trying to expand metal and things like that. So I've got this trued up as good as I can in the chuck, and I'm just gonna touch this face, make sure it's perfectly round, and clean up the edge, and then I'll put what they call a comfort fit radius on the inside, part it off, flip it around, put it inside the jaws, and put a round edge on the inside as well. And then I can work on drilling out some antler and making that fit. So we'll see how we make out. So I've never turned copper before today. You can see I have some shavings here from when I had a little test run earlier on. What I learned is that just, you know, like you would normally peel cut wood doesn't work nearly as well as cutting in like this, the same way that a metal lathe would. So I'm just going to true this the rest of the way up. So fortunately, you can see the pipes that are round. We're touching here, not here, here. So it's so I got to make that round. That's important. All right, we've got a clean surface. Now I'm going to find my calipers and we'll check that to make sure that we're the right diameter both sides. These are all just Easy Wood Tools carbide, just regular carbide, no negative rake. The inside of this pipe was at around the same as the outside was, so I had, in addition to putting the eased edge on it, I had to true up the inside as well. I'll leave just a little extra so I can clean it up on the opposite side. Now we get the insert ready. I've tested it on my boy's finger. It fits well, luckily. So now we can move on to getting some antler fitted over it. I'm going to turn it down on this end, put it back in the 4-jaw chuck, and then I'll clean this part up. Okay, too big. That may work for another one, so I don't want to waste it. And I think that'll press in there just fine. So I'm going to clean up this face a little bit. All right, I feel pretty good about that. Now I'm going to back this out just a little bit. Yeah, it's going to work just great. Nice and tight on both sides. So I just have to put some glue on this and press it in. We're good. So I started the insert in. I'm going to put a bead of CA glue around the inside of the antler now. And I'm going to use the tailstock as a press up against this plywood to press it in. It's a pretty snug fit. So, okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of CA right on this edge. Not a lot, this doesn't need a lot. Okay, I'll set that in there. And we'll press it right in. There we go. Okay, so this worked out pretty good. Definitely need to come up with a better way to get the glue on and get it pressed in there. So you can see I got a little bit into my plywood, so that's stuck on, but that's not a problem. It's going to come off anyhow. So now I'm going to build a mandrel to hold this ring. I'm really happy with the fit though, so that's the main concern. So that fits in there nicely, and I'll build a mandrel now. All right, so I just took a little piece of scrap wood. Actually, this is a cutoff end from the honey dippers that I made the other week. And I'm just going to make a mandrel to fit one size ring, and this may be too short, I'm not sure, but I'm going to try it. Okay, I'm going to cut that down just a little bit more right there. I'll put a ledge on it, and then I'll split this so that it's expandable. Okay, that's really good. So now I'm just going to split this on the bandsaw in an X, and I'll put a screw in the end to expand it so that it takes up the slack and works as a friction chuck for this. Okay, that's pretty good. Right up to the edge, almost all the way. Do the same over here. Okay, so that's pretty close. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this mandrel back out, put this in, and I'm going to polish up this inside. That way if I put any tiny marks in the outside, I'm going to be turning those away. And in case you didn't notice, there's a lot of guesswork going on here because I've never made one of these before. Before I get this turned down to the final diameter, I just want to do a couple of practice runs on the grooves for the wire and the spacing for the wire to make sure it was going to look okay. I'm not sure what gauge this wire is. It's just some stuff that I had here that looked like it would fit proportionately well for this piece. Now I'm just testing the radius and I'm going to put on it and see what looks okay as well. So this part of the project I wasn't really able to explain as I was going because you're kind of trying to focus on what you're doing and get this done. The CA glue sets up quite quick, so you don't want to be messing around with time. Basically, you start out with your piece of wire and you make sure that you get the end of the wire cut off nice and square. I actually filed them flat so that my joints would match up good. Then you kind of roll around, you adjust this one a little bit at a time, this end, the trailing end, so that you get a good lap and a good joint. So this one, there was a very, very tiny speck that you could see where they met. The second one, you can't tell where the wire starts and stops. So I was really pleased with how that turned out. So I'm just pushing the wire down in tight to make sure it's down in good, making sure it's got lots of CA that doesn't come back out when I turn it off flush. So same process for the second one. Give this a couple of minutes to set up, and then it's just a matter of putting the profile on the face that you want and getting the copper down flush to the surface of the antler. So this is a really easy part of it once you got to here. And then I sanded it up, started at 1200 grit, and I went to 2500. And I was going to put a CA finish on this, but I didn't like how it acted on the copper. I did test it on the copper and the insert, which I didn't show, but I didn't like how it reacted. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get some UV resin and a light, and I will put a coat of resin on that, and I'm going to show that in another video. But so this will suffice until that gets here, and I met my deadline and my son's happy. So if you're still with me, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Thanks again to all my subscribers and everyone who watches the videos. I appreciate that as well. If you watch the video and you like what you saw and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so and leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate that as well, and I respond to them all. I'll leave some stills up at the end, as always, and we'll see you next time.